He didn't crumble. He didn't confess or apologize. He just laughed. "Oh, that old bat's crazy," he'd said, dismissing his own sister and her devastating truth with a casual wave of his hand. There was no remorse in his response. There was no shame. It was the reaction of a man so entrenched in his fantasy that reality no longer held any sway. Or perhaps, it was the reaction of a con man moving on to his next mark, unburdened by the wreckage left behind. After that brief, chilling exchange, Tom simply vanished from our lives. He disappeared as completely as if he'd been a ghost all along. I tried looking him up online several times over the years. I'd type his name into search engines hoping for some clue, some trace of his real identity or what became of him, but nothing ever surfaced. No news articles, no legal records, no obituary. It was as if the Tom we knew and the penny ante lawyer his sister described had both ceased to exist. He left behind only questions and a lingering sense of unease. I often found myself pondering what his actual life must have been like. The life of the real Tom, the lawyer. It must have been a life of profound emptiness, of deep dissatisfaction. What kind of quiet desperation would drive a man to construct such an elaborate, all-consuming fantasy? To dedicate years to maintaining it, to draw unsuspecting people into its orbit. He had sacrificed genuine relationships, his family, for a world of make-believe. He chose the applause of strangers for a fictional hero over the quiet realities of an authentic existence. In the end, alongside the anger and the sadness for my father, a strange sort of pity for Tom settled in. The lies about his family, claiming his daughter and wife were dead, were monstrous. Yet his tears at my father's passing, his graciousness to my sister and me, I still believe those moments held a core of truth. With his Washington, D.C. life being entirely phony, and his actual relatives having understandably written him off long ago, my dad and our family were, in a twisted way, the closest people he had. We were the audience for his greatest performance and perhaps his only real connection. The enduring puzzle of Mr. Tom's elaborate deception continues to occupy my thoughts even now so many years later. What truly drove him to construct such a monumental fabrication? Was it a desperate, insatiable need for admiration, a craving for a respect his own life couldn't provide? Or was it a profound flight from a mundane reality, an existence so lacking in color that he felt compelled to paint an entirely new one? The sheer audacity of his lies still boggles the mind when I allow myself to dwell on it. The intricate web he spun was so detailed, so meticulously crafted, requiring constant maintenance and an unwavering vigilance against any slip-up. He lived perpetually on a knife's edge, always just one pointed question away from complete and utter exposure. The immense energy this must have demanded is almost unimaginable, speaking volumes about a profound cavernous emptiness that must have resided deep within him. The impact of such a monumental deception on one's ability to trust cannot be overstated. It makes you question your own judgment, your own perceptions of character. If someone who presented as so fundamentally genuine, so inherently kind, could turn out to be a complete and utter fabrication, then who else in the world might be wearing a similar mask? It has a way of eroding your faith in outward appearances, in the very surface of human interaction. It can make you more cautious, perhaps even a little more cynical than you were before. The ripple effects of his intricate lies extended far beyond just our immediate family. It felt like a betrayal of the very concept of friendship, a desecration of shared experience. It was, in essence, a theft of our genuine emotions, freely given and callously received under false pretenses. The inherent complexity of human relationships is starkly highlighted by this bizarre episode. Even when faced with such a massive, earth-shattering deceit, the feelings that remain are not simple or easily categorized. There is anger, of course, a deep and abiding sense of having been violated on a fundamental level. But alongside that anger, there's also a lingering, inexplicable sadness. A sadness for the man Tom pretended to be, the hero we all admired, and perhaps even a strange sort of pity for the man he truly was, the man he evidently couldn't bear to be. Friendships, by their very nature, are built upon a foundation of shared truths and mutual understanding. When that foundation is suddenly revealed to be nothing more than sand, the entire carefully constructed structure collapses, leaving behind a confusing, heartbreaking rubble of memories and what-ifs. Ultimately, one is left to consider the why of it all. Why did he choose my father, my family, as the primary audience for his elaborate performance? Was it merely a matter of proximity, a convenient stage found in that New Orleans apartment complex? Was it because my father, a fundamentally kind and trusting man, presented as an easy mark, someone less likely to question the grand narrative? Or, and this is a more unsettling thought, was there something specific in our family dynamic, a warmth and acceptance he genuinely craved, something he couldn't find or create in his authentic life? These questions continue to linger, unanswered and unanswerable, hanging in the air like unsettled dust. The nature of his connection to us, however false its original premise, felt undeniably real in its day-to-day execution. That, perhaps, is the most profoundly unsettling part of his entire charade. It remains incredibly difficult to completely dismiss the good Tom, the kind and avuncular figure who inserted himself so seamlessly into our lives. Despite the mountain of lies, the undeniable warmth he showed, particularly during the painful period of my father's passing and its immediate aftermath, felt so authentic at the time. The tears he shed by the gulf, the comforting words he offered my sister and me, the solemn presence he maintained. Were these meticulously rehearsed elements of his grand act, or did the character he so assiduously played sometimes manage to tap into genuine reservoirs of human emotion buried deep within him? It's a disquieting thought that a performance could be so immersive, so all-encompassing, that it generates real feelings, even in the performer. It almost seems as though he desperately wanted to be that honorable, heroic person he portrayed. The primary legacy of his elaborate deception is a lingering, pervasive sense of unreality that now taints cherished memories. It forces you to look back at moments once held dear with a new, unsettling filter, constantly questioning their validity. Was any of it truly real? The easy laughter shared around the pool, the seemingly profound stories exchanged, the apparent camaraderie that bound us together? It feels like a profound violation of personal history, an intrusion into the sanctity of memory. This bizarre experience has undeniably left an indelible mark, a cautionary tale that whispers in a quiet corner of my mind whenever I meet someone new. It serves as a stark and constant reminder that things are not always as they appear on the surface, that the smoothest veneers can conceal the most unexpected and unsettling truths. My father, thankfully, was spared the knowledge of Tom's true nature, and for that small mercy I remain eternally grateful. His final years were not clouded by this particular betrayal, but for those of us who carry the weight of this truth, the story of Mr. Tom serves as a bizarre, unforgettable, and deeply unsettling chapter in our lives. It stands as a strange testament to the winding, often inexplicable paths people choose to take, the elaborate and detailed fictions they construct to navigate their existence, or perhaps more accurately, to escape from it. He was, in a very real sense, a con artist of the soul, stealing not material wealth but something far more precious, emotional investment and unwavering trust. His chosen currency was our belief in the man he pretended to be. In the final analysis, Tom remains an enigma, a ghost who walked among us. He was a tragic figure in his own right, a masterful liar by any measure, and yet, simultaneously a kind stranger who in the end never truly existed outside of his own meticulously crafted narrative. His story is a complex and unsettling tapestry woven from threads of illusion and perhaps, somewhere deep within its tangled design, a fragile, misdirected flicker of genuine humanity. The questions he left in his wake are as numerous and as insubstantial as the lies he so convincingly told. And though he vanished from our lives as suddenly as he appeared, the echo of his bizarre tale, the strange and unsettling melody of Mr. Tom, continues to resonate, a quiet disturbance in the landscape of the past.